One area which we can take up for our study and meditation further, greatness of God. Greatness of God. How great God is. Beyond all my faculties, thinking, reasoning. Beyond all my faculties, thinking, reasoning, discernment, understanding, abilities. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. Can go in that order. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9.
For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
Here you can look at the sky. Sometimes the sky is very clear. Formerly the terrace we used to lie down and look at the sky. It's a beautiful thing to watch. You can go on looking, it goes on. From 10 kilometers up in the plane also it is still high. So immediately an awesome feeling comes how high it is, how far away. Then there are some satellite pictures of Earth from that height. When you look at it, you see how puny little is the Earth. And think of me there, like people on a pinhead. So insignificant, so insignificant. Then some understanding comes, it's beyond all my abilities, the greatness of God. Beyond all my abilities. In Romans, Paul raises few questions. 11th chapter, 33.
The depth of the riches of wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable his judgments, and his heart's beyond his knowledge.
Unfathomable, unsearchable. When you say unfathomable, can you think of anything? I think of putting a coin into the sea and trying to get it back. Unfathomable. Unsearchable. Looking for a key in this sea sand in the beach. Small understanding. Then he raises some questions after that. 34.
Who has known the mind of the Lord, or who has been his counselor? Who has ever given to God that God should repay him?
Yes. Look at that. What's the answer for those questions? What's the answer? No one. It's good to sit and watch the mountains, the skies, and if you go for a walk into the mountains to watch from there. But something that will happen is your inner space slowly widens. As the space around, your inner space also widens. When inner space widens, there is more place for knowledge of God. Knowledge of God. 2 Corinthians 6th chapter, 10 and 11.
Our mouth has spoken freely to you, O Corinthians. Our heart is open wide. You are not restrained by us, but you are restrained in your own affections.
Restrained. Any other word? Restrained.
Restricted.
restricted, constricted. Now, restricted is constricted, narrow. You called a person is a narrow-minded person. There is no space inside him. Our heart is open, you are not open toward us. Because two things can happen. One is the space itself is narrow. Second is cluttered inside, so there is no space. Which condition is yours, your heart? As you listen, you can make note of things which you can look at later. Am I cluttered within, so there is no space? Or my borders are very narrow, so there is no space. How do I increase my inner space? From your experience, how do you increase your inner space? Vishalada varunadagana. The Lord Psalmist says, you brought me from a pit and made me stand in a broad space. Narrowness to broadness. Vishala. How do you make it broad? Okay. But here, you can create lot of noise. Chat, non-stopping chat and phone calls also. Will there be any space? Solitude and silence must go together. This is an important discipline of Christian life. Solitude and silence. People who are very lonely will be threatened by solitude and also by silence. One of the reasons they hold on to the mobile is that, will not somebody call me? They're very happy. Immediately, somebody is calling me. So, come to these places, select some places like this, seashore, mountain top, olive garden, desert places. All these are very spacious places. Or if possible, go to the space and go have a space walk. Some of those who went into the space have written, their writings are very beautiful. Different experiences. People are alone in small vessels in sea. They are described about the space there. Nothing else. Space. In one place when one of the persons went for a hiking in the mountains and she lost the way and she did not return in the night. All were anxious what happened. The only thing to call for helicopter service. But they waited. She managed to sleep on a rock in the night because she had her pack. Morning she came back. She was describing it as a very good experience. All alone in the forest, in the rock. Yes, one way is to practice solitude and silence. One man, a small house in which he was staying, his father-in-law wrote that they are also coming as father and mother, coming to visit them and stay with them for a few days. He got panicked because there is no space in the house. So we went to an Abba, who is very wise, asked for advice what to do. He said, do you have chicken in your house? Yes. Go and take the chicken and keep them inside the house. Abba is telling, so he went and did that. Next day he came, they are coming within few days, Abba. Do you have sheep? Yes. Take them also inside. So he went and took the sheep also inside the house. Again, do you have cattle? Yes. Take them also inside. Abba, they are coming within 2 days. What to do? Go and remove all these things from your house and come. He removed all this and came and said, Abba, there is lot of space in my house. Where is the space? In your mind only, in your heart. In your heart. You rearrange your room, it will become very spacious. So rearrange your heart, there will be a lot of space. Love covers multitude of sin. Love covers multitude of sin. What's that? One way to understand is, you told your child, don't take that, it's very precious. If you take, it will fall down and break. If you take, I will punish you. When you are not there, child took it, curiosity, it broke. You caught the child and about to punish the child. Child cries out, Daddy, 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 please, please, please forgive me. All right. Your neighbor's child did the same thing. Uncle, uncle, please, I told you, tuck, tuck, you punish. Why? There is more space for your child in your heart. A mistake was not serious for you. There is lot of narrowness for the neighbor's child. It became very big. If there is space, many mistakes of others will become insignificant. That may be the reason the Lord is able to be very patient with us. Very spacious heart. Very, very spacious heart. Very patient. Patience and space go together, I think. Irritability and narrowness go together. So, when we watch the creation, many things we can learn. Spend time in that. Silently, quiet. You can go into the forest below also within the compound. It's safe there. Sit in many places. Take time to watch. Creation is marvelous. One of the beautiful things you will see that God not only created them, but is sustaining them mysteriously. You know that maintenance of a building is more difficult than constructing the building. Maintenance of a building. The Lord, how beautifully He maintains. Look at our own body from childhood, from birth, from conception. It's maintained. You are not doing anything for this. For your body growth, you are not doing anything. Am I not eating? How is it digested? What are you doing for it? Am I not breathing? How does your diaphragm move? How does your lung expand? How does the transfusion happen? Oxygen, carbon dioxide. the hundreds of work that happen in the body when I try to move my hand to bring food to my mouth. 40 muscles that are helping the hand to contract and relax. 40 muscles. The motor neurons that are sending the message to the muscles. Tuck, 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 it sends. How much to contract, how much to relax, how much to contract. The sensory receptors sending feedback about the position of the hand. You need to know where the hand is in this space so that it will come directly. So feedback is continuously going to the brain where the hand is. If the feedback is not there, your hand will go like this. People with cerebral problem, they can't reach this. Yes. The RBC that bring oxygen to the muscle, they carry the carbon dioxide back. They are flowing through the bloodstream. The flow of blood maintained by the heart. The RBC are regularly produced and replaced by the spleen. They have only 120 days lifespan. Some of them will be dead, here to be replaced. Spleen is doing that. The older RBC being destroyed and the hemoglobin recovered and newly manufactured. Hemoglobin is not lost, it is taken back. The WBC that keep watch for intruders into the bloodstream. The hormones that are produced by the endocrine glands regularly. They are pumped into the bloodstream at regular interval at the right amount. If you inject more, you will have thyroxine. If it is more injected, you will have tremors and palpitation. If it is less, you will be lethargic and sleepy. Right amount. The brain that controls all these functions. Heart that ceaselessly function to maintain the blood supply. The lungs that purify and cleanse the blood. The muscles that help the lungs to contract and relax. The nose that maintains the filter of air and regulating the temperature. The waste products that are removed from the liver by the liver and the kidney. If you go on looking at it, it is unimaginable. No mind can hold all this work that are happening simultaneously. You will cry out, too wonderful for me. Too wonderful for me. A man spends his lifetime to study part of the retina. We call him an expert. He doesn't know anything else, but we call him an expert. Doesn't know anything else. Sir, vanakkam sir. The cardiologist, he may not know how to change a bulb even. He has to call someone for that. Yes. God alone knows everything. He maintains all this. He created them so beautifully. So beautifully. Now, when we see the majesty of God, when you begin to understand the majesty of God, can I stand before Him? That's why many people, when they saw, they fell down. Fell down. Why we are standing? Because we don't know who He is. That's the reason. Can I sit in His presence? One of my friend's grandfather, he was a pujari. He became a Christian. He used to read Bible in the knees, full knees, and hold the Bible and read. That's the way he used to study Bible. Someone asked him, Why are you reading like that? It seems he has said, what is the other way to read the Bible? All his children, grandchildren, became missionaries. Faithfulness of one man, one pujari of a temple. So, the only place will be flat on the ground at the feet of the one. I am thinking, if I can ever come near the feet. VeggieTales, Joshua, the captain of the army of the host of God, army, meets him. He is on the ground. Joshua is on the ground. And from the ground, without lifting his head, what should I do? Beautiful presence. In between he raises like this. It looks. I thought that's a position for any Christian. I am not worthy. I am not worthy. My unworthiness became very clear as I begin to realize vaguely the greatness of my Lord. What can I speak now? Why in the Holy of Holies, what is happening? Silence. Silence. One man spoke there, John's father, Zacharias. So somebody wrote, because he spoke in God's presence, he became dumb before men. If you were silent in God's presence, you could have been able to speak before men. Yes, be silent before God, we can speak before men. If you kneel before God, you can stand before God, men. So silence, sometimes some groanings that cannot be uttered. Thanksgiving, my praising Him will be incomplete always on this side. My praising will be incomplete because I don't know Him fully. But in the meanwhile, will there be assurance of His love? In the way you can receive the assurance. Assurance of His love, His might, His sufficiency. What will we say then? Lord, You are my trust. You are my refuge. In Psalm 91, 9th verse, for You have made the Lord my refuge. The name for the Lord for this man is my refuge. My refuge. Jeremiah says, my trust. My refuge. Then he says, dwelling place. Even the Most High, your dwelling place. Using that title, that word, people have written books. My dwelling place. Other words, in second verse, my fortress, my refuge, my fortress, my God, my trust. In this psalm you will find 30 blessings for one thing you do, trusting in God. Just because you trusted Him, 30 blessings are there. That's all you did. Rest is done by God. All other things the world offers are only sinking sand. That will become clear before God. All other things the world is offering are only sinking sand, tottering structures. All will be shaken and broken. Look at all the political alternative people have produced. In the beginning, after Samuel's time, they removed theocracy and replaced by autocracy. After that, various alternate to the autocracy has happened. Each leader will bring. In my own lifetime, I heard about all this. Fascism in Italy, Nazism in Germany, communism in Russia, then continues various other isms. Capitalism. Latest was humanism. Recent one is hedonism. My pleasure at the center. What is happening? Before our own eyes, we see all this falling down brick. They may try to re-emerge, but they are breaking. Fascism has gone, Nazism has gone, neo-Nazism is coming up. Communism, 80 years it was there, it's no more. Trust in capitalism is gone. Now knowledge increases, trust in man is increasing, but that is breaking. Religious isms alternates. Buddhism, Confucianism, Jainism, Hinduism, Mohammedanism, various isms. But Christianity is the only way, continues. Judo-Christian influence in the world, taking the whole time, is the only thing that has withstood all that time without breaking. I will shake everything till what is not shaken will remain. We receive the kingdom of God which is unshakable. Then leaders, gurus, guides, counselors, advisors, many have come. Each era we will find various leaders. Gurus, guides, counselors, advisors. Sai Baba era, Mada Amrdas era, Sri Sri Sri. Who is in Coimbatore? Many, they all come with saying, I have an answer for your problem. Do not trust in them. You alone know everything, even the end of everything from the beginning. Your wisdom is unfathomable, unsearchable, higher than the highest heaven. There is no flaw in your creation, or in your law, or in your way. No man can find any flaw in his creation, in his law, in his way. So how boldly I am enabled to trust and rely on them. Unchanging King, unshakable kingdom. I am the same yesterday, today and forever. God does not change, so you do not perish. Think of a lighthouse. One day is in one place, another day it is another place, another day is in another place. Do you know what will happen to the ship? Shipwreck. Everything is changing around, for our God doesn't change. So we don't perish. We don't perish. Thank God for that greatness. People have tried to describe His love, the depth, the width, the height, the length. No one can measure beyond comprehension. But we know that we are secure in His love, even though we don't know that love. We don't see Him, yet we love Him because His love was displayed to us on the cross. His holiness, meditate on that. See, when you remain silent, sometimes you can take one attribute of God and keep your focus on that. One attribute, His holiness. Bible says, no iota of darkness, unapproachable light, bright, blinding, no comparison possible. We can only cry, holy, holy, holy. They saw the garment of Jesus Christ in the Mount of Transfiguration. The description is very difficult. No fuller on earth could make it white like that. That's all they can describe it. And when you stand there in the holiness, that's what happened to the centurion. I am unworthy. The unrighteousness, the filth, the blemishes are all very clear. Our cry will be only, cleanse me, have mercy on me. Your power, greatness of God's power. Lightning, thunder, tornadoes, flood, earthquakes are only crackers for you. Patas. Fire from heaven which devoured cities, stones, mountains, everything in a moment is only a small thing for you. Think of what will be His power. An atom divided releases unimaginable power which destroys everything around. But the Lord has kept that power inside the atom. Think of the power of God. Harnessing the power into an atom. When we release it, we are not able to control it in any way. But by His word, He has harnessed that power. And think of the millions of atoms. Energy has become the mass. M is equal to EC squared. Intelligence. Intelligence stored in a gene or a chromosome is difficult to grasp. Intelligence stored in a gene or a chromosome is difficult. Think of the God who kept all this inside this. The mighty work of my small mitochondria. It's a big factory, mitochondria. Threat of a fragile virus, Nipah. It's a very fragile virus. If you keep it in sunlight, it will break off. AIDS, very fragile virus. But the whole medical army went back fearing this. When one virus came like this. You must have heard nurses didn't want to practice nursing because they have to care for these patients. So only Indian nurses went there. Whole army withdrew. You must see them putting on protective gear. He will look like a man going to space to take a delivery or an operation. You can't even see it. under microscope. Now you look here to see the might of God. This is the God whom we worship. Do we know anything about Him? And sometimes this is the God you question. Why did you do like that, Lord? Why are you not answering me? Is He answerable to you? Is God answerable to any one of us?